वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान् पितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया अक्षरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नामश्रेष्ठं मनोऽपि पुत्रमत्र स्वरूपं रूपं तस्यागतं रूपरिं माधुरीं गोष्ठपाठ्यं राधाकुण्डं गिरिवरमहो राधिका माधवाशः प्राप्तो यस्य प्रतिकृपया श्रीगुरुं तं नतोऽस्मि। नमस्ते गुरुदेव।
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, we can't hear you. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Something is wrong with his internet. He left.
And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the scriptures. So, Sarvopanishado Gavo Dugdha Gopal Nandana Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat. So, this Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. So, we'll read verse number 334 as it has been designated today. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadveshau vyavastitau tayornavasham agachet tau hi asya paripanthinau. Indriyasya, of the senses. Indriyasyarthe, in the sense objects. So basically there are 5 working senses and 5 knowledge acquiring senses. And there are sense objects also, right? So for example, by eyes, I want to see some nice sight. That is a sense object. So like that. So indriyasya, of the senses, indriyasya arthe, in the sense objects, raga, attachment. So basically there is a raga and dvesha. There is attachment and there is detachment. So this is the duality in this material world. Raga, dvesha. Raga means attachment and dvesha means detachment, or like and dislike. So raga and dvesha, these are the 2 things which are very common in this world. Raga, desha. But Bhagavan will further tell us, has already told us in chapter 2, slok number 64, Raga desha vimuktastu vishayan indriyascharan atma vashyar vidheyatma prasadam adhigachita. A man of controlled senses, however, who is free from attachment and aversion, attains happiness of mind even while enjoying various objects through his senses. So, Sthita Pragya, one whose consciousness is fixed. What is his nature? Person in equanimity. So Bhagavan, he told that the mind cannot directly accept sense objects. There is no fault in accepting sense objects with controlled senses. So our mind develops a desire to enjoy sense objects. But mind cannot enjoy by itself. It needs the helps of senses. Um, so Vidhyatma means one whose Atma is fixed in the instructions of Bhagavan. Prasadam adhigacchati implies that there is no fault if such qualified person accepts sense objects. Rather it is specifically to their credit because they see that everything is related to Bhagavan. One who is Sthita Pragya may or may not give up sense objects or may not be motivated to attain them. In any case, everything is auspicious for him. Like the devotee, many like the devotee like say Yudhishthir Maharaj. What difference does it make he enters a household life or becomes a sannyasi? It doesn't make any difference. Because either way, he's a perfect devotee. He will keep on performing his devotional service in household life, also in sannyas life. Even when the external senses are controlled by keeping them aloof from the sense objects, the mind does not stop thinking of them. And that is the problem. Many times we see that we try to stop thinking of the sense objects, but they just don't go from our mind. So such renunciation is called falgu, useless, or markata vairagya, or monkey renunciation. This is stated in Gita 3.6. Karmendriyani sayyamya yaste manasa smara indriyarthan vimudatma mithyachara sadochyate. When a sadhaka practices appropriate renunciation, yukta vairagya, and worships Sri Bhagavan, he can control his mind and absorb it in thinking of his worshipable deity. When he has reached such a stage, there is no fault in accepting those sense objects which are favorable to his practice and rejecting those which are unfavorable. So there is always going to be raga and dvesha. So basically, we have the anarthas, as we studied in that we are studying Madhurya Kadamini. Dushkrutat anarthas, the anarthas arising from past sinful activities refer to 5 types of klesha or distress, which are avidya, ignorance or forgetfulness of Krishna; asmita, the false egoism arising from the conceptions of I and mind in relation to the material body; raga, attachment for the objects of sense gratification; and dvesha, hatred or aversion to unpleasant, disagreeable, or adverse situations; and dur, abhinivesh, attachment for or absorption in sinful activities. Right. So basically, due to our past sinful activities, only we develop attachment for something and hatred or aversion or feeling unpleasant or disagreeable or adverse situation. I give an example that, in India, when we are children, actually we are not having any septic toilets. We are having these toilets where, not septic toilet. There was no septic tank. So as a result, stench was unbearable many times. With all the stool, you could see worms crawling in that, maggot and all that. And, literally I grew with that, because that was very rare to have septic toilets when I was growing up. And imagine Gaurkishore Babaji Maharaj, he was chanting Harinam right there in the toilet. He was chanting there. And Bhakti Pragya and Keshav Goswami Maharaj went to see him. And then only opened the door. But he said the stench of the stool is better than the stench of the materialistic people. Srila Gurudev recounts that, on one occasion, Srila Gaurkishore, weary of materialistic company, locked himself in a latrine of a public dharmashala, rest house, in Kulia, and began to perform bhajan. He found this stinking place conducive for bhajan, and he preferred the stench of the toilet to the association of materialist. People wondered where the Babaji had gone. After 2 or 3 days, the sweeper woman arrived. As she was cleaning the stool under the latrine, she heard a tender voice filled with intense longing, chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Glancing upwards, she was astonished to see Srila Babaji Maharaj fully absorbed in chanting Harinam. He was not aware of his body or of the bad smell. The sweeper woman immediately told the chairman of the municipality, and the news soon reached the ears of the district authorities, the police superintendent, and others. Everyone came to Srila Babaji Maharaj and repeatedly requested him to come out of the latrine. Babaji Maharaj, they pleaded, "We have arranged a bhajan kutir for you on the banks of the Bhagavati Ganga. Please go there and perform bhajan." But Babaji Maharaj did not pay any attention to their talk and went on with his ceaseless chanting of Harinam. To the incessant request of the high officials, Srila Babaji Maharaj only replied in a feeble voice, "I am unhealthy and I am unable to open the door." So you see that he's completely free from raga and dvesha. He's only attached to bhajan. So that is the thing. So we should also be attached to bhajan, like Gaurkishna Babaji Maharaj. But due to our past sinful activities, we have attachment for the objects of sense gratification and dvesha, hatred or aversion to unpleasant, disagreeable or adverse situation. So these are all anarthas. And basically, obviously, there is also attachment to Krishna, right? One time Narad Muni was talking to Maharaj Yudhishthir, and he told, "Oh Maharaj Yudhishthir, there are two kinds of absorption in Sri Krishna. One is called raga, strong attachment, and the other is dvesha, envy. In this connection, raga is favorable absorption, whereas envy, anger, and fear are unfavorable. Kama, transcendental lust, sneha, transcendental affection, and sambandha, a family relation, are favorable and they are called raga. Envy is opposite to raga, although it is also absorption of the heart and mind. Envy denotes, I'll kill him." So, you like Shishupal, he had attachment, he had also dvesha for Krishna, envy, Shishupal, Kamsa, Shishupal. So, they were also attached to Krishna, but in a contrary mood to kill him. So, Gopya Kamat Bhayat Kamso Dvesha Chaitya Tayondrupa Sammandat Vrishnaha Sneha Gyam Bhaktya Vayam Vivo. My dear King Yudhishthir, the gopis by their lusty desires, Kamsa by his fear, Shishupal and other kings by envy, the Yadus by their familial relationship with Krishna, you Pandavas by your great affection for Krishna, and we, the general devotees, by our devotional service, uh, have obtained the mercy of Krishna. So basically, there is raga. Kamsa's fear also was ragamai. In general, all these six are ragamai, full absorption in Sri Krishna. Raga means actually full absorption in Sri Krishna or sense objects. But we have to take our mind away from sense objects, full absorption in sense objects, and be fully absorbed in Krishna. Then that rag is good. For Shishupal and Dantavakra were also like that. They were also doing ragamai attachment. But Kamsa was totally absorbed in Krishna out of fear, day and night, while he was slept. He was always dreaming about Krishna. He was always afraid, thinking, when Krishna comes and I'll kill him. So, Kamsa attained complete absorption by fear. Shishupal out of envy, and the Vishnu dynasty, the Yadavas by Sambandha, family relation. The members of the Vishnu dynasty considered Krishna as their brother's son, grandfather, or uncle. All the Yadavas thought in those ways, and their wives were also in those relationships. Shri Narad Muni also cited the example of the Pandavas, who had both Sambandha and Sneha, affection, a very high class Sneha. So basically, here you can see attachment and aversion to Sri Krishna. That is also seen here. So we should be attached to Sri Krishna in favorable mood. So here it is told that raga, attachment, dvesha, also detachment, vyavasthito, put under regulations. Tayoh, there, never. Vasham, control, agachet, one should come. Tau, those, he, certainly, asya, he is, paripanthe, now stumbling blocks. Attraction and repulsion for sense objects are felt by embodied beings, but one should not fall under the control of senses and sense objects because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. Those who are in Krishna consciousness are naturally reluctant to engage in material sense gratification. But those who are not in such consciousness should follow the rules and regulations of the revealed scriptures. Unrestricted sense enjoyment is the cause of material engagement. But one who follows the rules and regulations of the revealed scriptures does not become entangled by the sense objects. For example, sex enjoyment is a necessity for the conditioned soul, and sex enjoyment is allowed under the license of marriage ties. For example, according to scriptural injunctions, one is forbidden to engage in sex relationships with any woman other than one's wife. All other women are to be considered as one's mother. But in spite of such injunctions, a man is still inclined to have sex relations with other women. These propensities are to be curbed. Otherwise, there will be stumbling blocks on the path of self realization. As long as the material body is there, the necessities of the material body are allowed, but under the rules and regulations. And yet, we should not rely upon the control of such allowance. One has to follow those rules and regulations unattached to them. Because practice of self gratifications under regulations may also lead one to go astray, as much as there is always the chance of an accident, even on the royal roads. Although they may be very carefully maintained, no one can guarantee that there will be no danger even on the safest road. The sense enjoyment spirit has been current a very long time, owing to material association. Therefore, in spite of regulated sense enjoyment, there is every chance of falling down. Therefore, any attachment for regulated sense enjoyment must also be avoided by all means. But action in the loving service of Krishna detaches one from all kinds of sensory activities. Therefore, no one should try to be detached from Krishna consciousness at any stage of life. The whole purpose of detachment from all kinds of sense enjoyment is ultimately to become situated on the platform of Krishna consciousness. Actually, I saw one article actually that Baba Ramdev, the yoga guru, and his assistant, his partner actually, Balkrishna, Acharya Balkrishna, they gave sannyas diksha, brahmachari diksha to many young women and men and recruited them as brahmachari and brahmacharinis. So they took a vow of lifelong celibacy. It's a very difficult vow, I must agree. But then I thought in the mind that, what is the aim and object of following such a hard vow? What are they going to gain by it? Means really, is there any benefit in following their whatever views they have, Arya Samaj, or what views they have? What is the aim and object? If there is no bhakti, uh, if they are going to do unalloyed devotional service to Sri Krishna, oh, that's just fine. Then no harm. But if you are not going to do Krishna bhakti, uh, I would rather say that the Krishna conscious householders are better off than the non-devotee brahmacharis and brahmacharinis. Because it is simply waste of time otherwise. If you are not doing bhakti and simply following brahmacharya or hard austerities, so the whole purpose of brahmacharya is the whole purpose is just to become Krishna conscious. It helps us in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, no purpose. So, indriyasyandrayarthasarthe raga dvesho vyavastitau tayorna vasham agaccheta tau hi asya paripantitau. Indriyasyarthe, of each sense. Indriyasyarthe, within each sense, object, raga, attachment. Means every sense is attached to that corresponding sense object. Eyes are attached to very beautiful sight, nose is attached to very good fragrance, tongue is attached to good taste, touch is attached to some soft object. So, dvesho, aversion, vyavasthito, are situated. Tayoho, by them, no, not. Vasham, control, agacheta, should become. Tau, they. Attachment and aversion. He, certainly. Asya, for him, the spiritual practitioner. Paripanthi, no. Obstacles. All the senses are helplessly controlled by one's attachment and aversion to their respective objects. Therefore, one should never come under their sway, because such attachment and aversion are impediments for the sadhaka's progress upon the path of auspiciousness. It is not possible for scripture to force injunctions upon a person whose nature is extremely wicked. So here you see that some people, they are very wicked. Then it is very difficult for scriptures to control them. The scriptures cannot control them very easily. Therefore, as long as the feelings of unhappiness resulting from performance of sinful action have not arisen, a person should not allow his senses to wander willfully. Suppose I do some sinful activity, then I must feel remorse, I must lament, called paschatta. So one should try to control one's senses. Shri Bhagavan is speaking this verse beginning with Indriyasya Indriyasya to explain this. The repetition of the word Indriya here indicates that the sense objects of each respective senses. Although to look at another's wife, touch her, or allure her by giving her gifts is forbidden in scripture, an immoral man is still attracted to doing so. So that this is now very much common actually. And they will simply try to attract someone else's wife, try to touch her, try to allure her by giving gifts. But this is actually the most sinful activity. And most of the murders and suicides and divorces, broken families, they are caused by this type of attraction for someone else's wife or someone else's husband. So actually you'll see that this is newspaper is replete with the news how this caused havoc in so many lives. On the other hand, although it is prescribed in scripture to see, touch, serve, and offer charity to the guru, brahmanas, holy places, and guests, an impious man is averse to such behavior. Actually, you are supposed to see what you are supposed to see, the spiritual master. You are supposed to touch his feet or Vaishnava's feet. Obviously, if they don't want, then you don't touch. You pranam from far away. But you are supposed to serve your spiritual master, brahmanas, holy places, and guests. You must serve them. You must offer charity to them, to Gurudev, brahmanas, guests, atithis, and holy places. But an impious man is averse to such behavior. An impious man will be attracted to someone else's wife. He will try to buy her gifts. He will try to look at her. He will try to touch her, embrace her. But he will not try to embrace devotees. He will not try to offer gifts to Guru. So they don't do what is beneficial for their soul, but they try to do what is beneficial for their immediate sense gratification. This is the thing. To come under the influence of either of these mentalities is not proper. So you'll see that you are supposed to give charity to the holy. You are supposed to visit the holy places. But these days, there is a fashion actually. You somehow or the other, you take someone else's wife, take it to a hotel secretly, and then you get caught, and then the husband will chastise you, and then you chastise him back. There's public fight. So this is what is going on now. And now people are so scary that my wife may be having an affair with someone else. They put a GPS in their car, so they know where their car was gone in their absence. They put CC television and they put recorders and whatnot in their mobile phones. No one trusts anyone in this society. There are actually snooping devices everywhere in the house because the husband doesn't trust the wife and wife doesn't trust the husband either way. You understand? This is due to lack of Krishna consciousness. It's a heightened. This is now this severe actually this situation now, and add to it the now unjustified live-in relationship between boy and girl without marriage. That adds to another level of problems. So that the the society, the wedding and that marriage institution is so weak now. So to come under the influence of either of these mentalities is not proper. In other words, it is not proper either to develop attachment to a woman by seeing her or to be malicious to someone who obstructs that attachment. So one should not develop an attachment. So first, don't look at a woman. If you see a beautiful woman, just turn your head away. Understand? Not I am saying that women are bad as such, but because they are very attractive, and if she is not your wife, you have no business staring at her. What point makes you stare at your someone who's not your wife either way? To make her uneasy also. So we should not again and again look. Once you see her, it's fine. Or maybe you should look upon her as like a sister or daughter or like a mother. With that feeling, you can look at her, but not with the mood of enjoyment. But then what happens is someone, we fall in love with some woman and then someone obstructs that attachment. Then we try to eliminate him, that person, eliminate him or her who's causing our obstruction to our meeting with that woman with whom we want a illicit connection. Similarly, an aspirant on the path of self-realization should neither be attached to rich and palatable foodstuffs that are to his taste or not averse to try unpalatable food items and subjects that are not to his taste. So basically, the whole point is actually, oh, I'm going to that particular restaurant because it has very good food. I will go to Govinda's restaurant in ISKCON Chowpatty. Oh, ISKCON Bangalore, they have very good restaurant, Prashadam restaurant. Oh, very good. 200 rupees, unlimited we can eat. And, fabulous. How about going to Gaudiya Math? Oh, no. Nothing, not enough oil they put and this and that. So what is this? This is actually, we are attached to rich and palatable foodstuffs, which put pressure on our belly. First, eating palatable foodstuff by our tongue puts pressure on our belly and then our genitals. If you cannot control tongue, you cannot control your belly and you cannot control your genitals. So we should, Anil Prabhu always says, Rukha Sukha Khao or Kaam Ko Jeeto. But these days, there is so much attraction for palatable foodstuffs. There is actually on YouTuber, Mr. Chajed, he's talking about heart, actually, how to reverse heart condition without putting strains or putting some or open heart surgery and whatnot, So he's telling that what is better for you, rice, polished rice or chipped rice. Chipped rice means poha, or it is called chidwa. Chidwa, chivda, either way. He's telling that polished rice is not so good because it is devoid of all the nutrients. But chipped rice is much better because they actually boil the rice with the husk and then they remove the husk by pounding. So it is not polished, so it is better, he was telling like that. Anyways, so the point I'm trying to make is that we should try to take wholesome food offered to Lord Krishna, not over processed. And there are some drinks actually, they're very tasty. I give an example of one drink called Appy. I personally used to like it a lot because it is highly carbonated, highly high content, sugar content, that Appy. And fizz and something like this. And it's very tasty, obviously. I personally used to like the taste of it. But then I read that it has so much sugar in it, which is the ultra processed food, not good for you at all. So I stopped it actually. And there are preservatives in those foodstuffs. Those preservatives, they increase the shelf life of those foodstuffs, but they decrease your lifespan. So we should try to take wholesome food, fresh food offered to Krishna. It may be simple, and honor it. There was one Maharaj actually, he used to mix all the prasadam items and then he used to not worry that I'll be attached to this particular taste, sweet or bitter, sour, salty. No. He should mix all prasad. He said, I should not be attached to any taste. I should be only attached to prasadam. It is a food stuff offered to Krishna. We should be like that. So, similarly, an aspirant on the path of self-realization should neither be attached to rich and palatable foodstuffs that are to his taste or not averse to dry. So actually, I was reading. Actually, Srila Gurudev's personal library has been put on the net. Srila Gurudev's books in his library, because you know that third floor of Keshaji Gaudiya Math, old building is now gone. Now they're constructing a new building there. But I remember he had a big library there in his room. And there actually, they scanned his Ramayana, Hindi Ramayana. I found a very good version of Ramayana. It's to be downloaded on purebhakti.com. And I was reading that churning of the ocean took place. And churning of the ocean, some heavenly damsels appeared from that churning. And they are called Apsara. And now the etymological meaning of that is given in Ramayana. That etymological meaning, they are telling that Apa means water. Apa means water, and the heavenly damsels who emanated from water, they are called Apsara. Apsara. Then also one particular Varuni beverage, it came out of that, and demigods accepted that Varuni. So in Sanskrit, the liquor is called Sura, Sura, and demigods accepted that wine, that Varuni beverage, intoxicating beverage called Varuni, and demons didn't accept it. So Sura means liquor. So Asura means who did not accept that liquor, and Sura means accepted that liquor. So I found, very wonderful actually that, everything has a meaning in Sanskrit. So I just read it for 5 minutes on Ram Navami day and I was surprised. It was telling that how this, when churning of the milk ocean took place, where the poison came from. And Ramayana says that it came because of, from the mouth of that Vasuki, who was made into the rope for churning the milk ocean. And Lord Shiva drank that poison. Some of that poison fell on the ground, and the snakes and scorpions drank that. So the whole point actually I'm trying to make is that these books actually, we should not be attached to good foodstuffs, very palatable foodstuffs. Last year especially was very bad for the cows. Our Indian breed of cows actually developed a serious disease actually called lumpy skin disease. And they had sores all over the body. And as a result, they were suffering like anything. Many cows left the body. There was one Goshala called Patweda Goshala in Rajasthan. I think lakhs and lakhs of cows are there. And there is one Maharaj, Datta Sharanandri Maharaj. And he actually was crying for many days because the cows were dying. And Shripat Dandi Maharaj also ceaselessly was working for the cows. Ceaselessly working for the cows. Our cows also, some of our cows in Hazarkat also developed this skin mad cow, this lumpy skin disease actually. But one sadhu had a realization. He said that you take some water in a pot and keep it in front of the deity of Hanuman, and or if you don't have Hanuman, you can put in the picture of Hanuman and light a lamp and chant any mantra like Hare Krishna Mahamantram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, or you can chant Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, which is a Vijay mantra for the devotees of Ramchandra. So name of God should be chanted for 1 hour, 2 hours, and then that water is sanctified now. If you get Ganges water, it is very good if you keep in front of Hanuman. Otherwise, you can take any water, any clean water, and chant 2 hours mantra, and then sprinkle that water on the cows. And he had the realization that if you sprinkle that water on the cows, that lumpy skin disease will go away. But it was a very dangerous disease. So the holy name has power in it. So here, similarly, an aspirant on the path of self-realization should neither be attached to rich and palatable foodstuffs that are to his taste, or nor averse to dry, unpalatable foodstuffs and objects that are not to his taste. In the same way, he should not be attached to seeing and hearing about his own son, or nor should he be adverse to see and hearing about his son's enemy's son. So generally, we like our son very much. There is attachment for son. You might have heard the story of Vivanda Rishi. Vivanda, he was great sage, and he was having a son by the name of Rishyashranga, and he wanted him to make him brahmachari. But somehow or the other he couldn't remain brahmachari. So he was very attached to his son. So generally we are also attached to our sons. But we don't want to hear about someone else's son. For example, we hear that there was an accident in the school. And then we are immediately very scared. Oh, what happened? Is it my son who was hurt in that accident? And if the news comes that it was not my son, then it was someone else's son, or my enemy's son, then maybe sometimes some happiness may also come in our heart. Oh, good. My enemy's son was hurt. Good. We should not be like that. We should have equal love for our son and also enemy's son. We should see both of them on spiritual platform. Understand? And we should love everyone's son. And we should not hate anyone. Understand? We should not have, actually we should not have so much attachment for one son also. Because if you have attachment for your own son or your own daughter, then you'll have to take another birth again if you are excessively attached to them. Or if you are very attached to your wife, you will take birth as a female. If you are attached to your dog, you will take birth as a dog. If you are attached to cat, you will take birth as a cat. So especially, we like to see our own son. We like to hear about our own son's glories. We don't want to hear if say first prize. Actually, I saw one news actually in India that um, there was actually two boys or girl, I don't remember, but two girls actually. And one girl, she came second in this class. She got a second rank. Another girl got the first rank. So, and perpetually this girl was getting the second rank, the other girl was getting the first rank. So the mother of that girl who was always getting the second rank became so envious that she literally eliminated the girl who was getting the first rank. I saw the newspaper actually. I was surprised. Envy can reach to any level. You may even try to physically eliminate your competitor, daughters or sons' competitors. So be very careful. We should not be. We should not try to be attached to so much to our child and hate someone else's child like that. It is inappropriate to come under the influence of such attachment and aversion. This also happens many times in marriages. Like woman gets married to another man and she has a child from the first marriage. Then many times that child from the first marriage is ill-treated by the new father. Understand? And that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen actually. If she has new child from this man, then no harm. That man should look after all the children as his own children. Actually, we should look upon all the animals also as our children. Shiva Dandi Maharaj once told me, I told him that I want to open Goshala in Pune, near Pune town. And then he said, why Goshala? Why not Prani Shala? He said, open shelter for all the animals, cat, dogs, hogs, pigs, everyone. They're all part and parcel of Krishna. And if we get some Lakshmi, will open for all animals. That all animals should be given shelter there. They are all part and parcel of Krishna. So that is his vision actually. He told me that all living entities should be seen as, because this is only a Mahabhagavat like Srila Gurudev or Shripada. Anirudh Prabhu, Sripad Dandi Maharaj can speak like this. They see Krishna in everyone's heart. They see Krishna in the heart of every living entity. So that's why they don't want to hurt anyone and they look upon everyone equally. So it is inappropriate to come under the influence of such attachment and aversion. This has been explained. Sarartha Varshini Prakashika Vritti. The senses are of two types. Knowledge acquiring senses, Gyanendriya, and working senses, Karmendriya. There are 5 knowledge acquiring senses: the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin, which accept form, sound, smell, taste, and touch as their respective objects of sense gratification. So, eyes actually, they like to see a beautiful form. In India, that is happening too much now. These days, actually, they cheat you by the eyes. They try to cheat you. They'll come to you and they'll tell you that we are selling you gold. And then first they will give you the gold, which is genuine gold. And then after that, they will give you fake gold. And because you got genuine gold from them before, you'll trust them and then you'll purchase the new fake gold from them and lose the money. So eyes and ears, they're all deceptive. Nose is also deceptive, understand? So we like to smell fragrance, nose, and tongue. The tongue likes to taste. The tongue likes to taste very palatable objects, and skin likes to taste something very soft. So these are all sense gratification. So very much actually, many times you'll see that people like to purchase very soft clothes. One brahmachari asked for a soft dhoti to Srila Bharti Maharaj. But Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhav Goswami Maharaj told, don't give him very soft dhoti. Give him little coarse dhoti, which is sold in the regulated shop, control shop in government. Government India is to sell that. Why we should wear very soft dhotis, very soft saris, very expensive. Like many times you'll see that the rich persons, they have very handbags, 50 lakh rupees, 1 crore rupees. So that is how they have this very what is use anyways? What is the use of having 60,000 rupees US dollars handbag? What is the use? Waste of time. What is the need of the clothes? Basically, it is for sabhyata, dignity, just to cover your body. Understand? So your bodily parts are not exposed. That's all. How does it matter that you are wearing, a very simple cloth or a very fabulous cloth? It doesn't matter. You should not waste time on procuring very expensive clothes. Vaishnavas should dress very simply. Bhalana khaibe, bhalana paribe. And and there are also 5 working senses: speech, hands, legs, anus, and genitals, which perform the action of speaking. So we speak by our mouth, but always speak the truth, never speak untruth. Hands for accepting. Someone will give us something, we accept that. Many times I see that actually we are very fortunate.
Sorry, Marge, we can't hear you.
And she was actually having only one hand. She was married actually, and one boy got married to her, devotee boy actually, devotee's son actually. So we are fortunate to have 2 hands, 2 legs. We should use them in Krishna's service. Anus and genitals. Anus is for evacuation, and genitals for reproduction. Therefore, reproduction or for evacuation of urine and all that stuff. Which perform the action of speaking, accepting, evacuating, and procreating. So procreation is also important. I'm not telling that procreation is genitals are bad. Have a purpose. For example, today I got a news that my mother is sick. Yesterday, my brother sent me WhatsApp message. Then she has pneumonia, admitted to hospital. So, anyways, I told my sister who's taking care of her some remedies, homeopathy remedies. Basically, uh, when you have pneumonia, then oxygen goes down. So basically, when oxygen goes down, there are some medicines in homeopathy which are much cheaper, like carbovage. This actually increases your uh, blood. This thing, carbovage is a very good medicine actually, and coca erythroxyl. If you take like 2 drops 4 times a day, it increases your oxygen saturation in the body. Otherwise, then my friend Dr. Naveen Vadhu also gives a pattern and this and that. So, anyways, and the prayer, obviously, the prayer, Achyutaya Nama, Anantaya Govinda Nama, or name of Krishna. Because Adhe Vyade Yasa Smaranat Nama Kirtana Tadeva Vilayamya Ditam Anantam Namamya. You can also pray for some of your relatives who are sick or suffering by giving them the benefit of Ekadashi or chanting the holy name for their welfare. Praying to Lord Nrsimha, that is also good. Ultimately, it is in Krishna's hand. Marabi Rakhavi Jyoto Ichha Tohar. Nitya Dasa Prati Tova Adhika. So basically, we should be completely dependent on Lord Hari, who is actually. So we should always chant his name, like the four Kumars also chanting. Hari Sharanam, Hari Sharanam. This is their Panchakshari mantra. Hari Sharanam, Hari Sharanam, Hari Sharanam, Hari Sharanam. Hari is a generic name. It applies to Narayan, it applies to Ram, it applies to Krishna. Hari means one who steals. Narayan can also steal your mind, Ram can also steal your mind. But Krishna has taken the art of stealing to another level altogether. He steals the clothes, he steals the butter, he steals the mind, he steals the reputation, he steals the money, and he steals everything. So, Surdas has told that everyone may be Hari, Narayan may be Hari, Ram may be Hari, but he's Hari Rai. He's the best of the thieves. Understand? So he does not enjoy the various sense objects separately for himself. In this way, he can easily overpower the uncontrolled senses. So basically, he doesn't try to enjoy various sense objects separately for himself. For example, genitals, they are for procreation. If my mother, my father would not procreate, how would this poor soul get a chance to engage in Krishna consciousness, get initiated? So I should not, I shouldn't say that householders, they're all bad, they're all useless. No, my mother was also householder, my father also householder. I cannot repay them. I can only repay them probably if I chant Harinam and follow Ekadashi, I can repay mother and father. Otherwise, which son in the world can repay the mother and father? Understand? But if I behave badly, if I steal, if I try to engage in illicit sex with someone else's wife, they will go to hell. I will also go to hell. But suppose I try to chant even little bit Harinam, even little bit, they will be delivered. At least they will get a good destination. I will also get a good destination. So really speaking, procreation, which happens by genitals, is not essentially bad. Recently, what happened that China just banned the procreation. They just said only one son. Then the whole population of China became lost. No population at all. All old people were living in China. So now they told that you can beget a child even with a woman who's your wife or not even your wife. Even if you are in live-in relationship, that child is considered legal. The things came to that actually. Now in India also you are seeing that no sadhus. The temples are empty. Wherever we go, there are no devotees to do puja or to ring bell or to perform arati or to do book distribution or to edit books, translate books. No devotees, zero devotees. Big temples, but no devotees living there. This is because everyone has only one son, one daughter. They want to keep one son for their old age, and daughter to marry someone, so to someone else. That's it. And then they have no son left, extra sons to engage in religious cause or national cause like this. Because government told that you have to have only one son and one daughter, actually. But if you are Muslim, then you are allowed to marry four wives, and you can have as many children as you like. So some people are pressing that, okay, we should have equal law for Muslims and Hindus. Hindus only one marriage and that to two children. Otherwise, they will not get ration card, they will not get a job, this and that. Government put many restrictions. Muslims, no restrictions. So the point I'm trying to make is that I don't hate Muslims or anything, but what I'm trying to say is that necessarily it is not necessary that children are bad thing. Suppose you have 10 children also. The Krishna will give food. And if Krishna will arrange, suppose one mother, I know one Mataji actually, she's congregation member of Rupsanathan Gaudiya Math. She has two sons actually, Gaur and Nitai. They're very fair. If you look at them, they may look like American, understand. And she dedicated both of them to Rupsanathan Gaudiya Math. They used to went to normal school, but one teacher punished the child very much. So child became scared. And then they left the education for good, and now they live in the mud and they just do all the sevas, learn bhajan, kirtan. Is there any shortage of prasadam in Rupsanathan Gaudiya Math or Ranganath Gaudiya Math? So much sabji. In Ranganath Gaudiya Math, truckload of sabji comes in Bhiksha. There is rooms full of the grains like ragi. So much bumper crop, or Shipa Dandi might also purchase a lot of grains. A lot of coconuts are there. Fresh milk from Indian breed of cow, A2 milk is there. Offered as prasadam. No shortage of prasadam actually. Or clothes. So many dhotis, so many shirts. They come as donation. I get so many clothes as donation actually. I cannot wear all of that, so I just give it to Maharaj, who can distribute to the needy persons. Understand? So once you surrender to Krishna, there is no shortage. So I wouldn't say that if some mother takes it seriously and begets like say many children and gives it for propagation of Krishna consciousness, I would say that she's also doing some service by her genitals. I know it's very troublesome to beget a child. It's 9 months to hold a child and the baby to raise him is like, very Herculean task, very tough task. The toughest task, I would say, in the world to rear a child. But that effort of a mother, all the blood, sweat, and tears, as they call it, is actually successful if the child becomes a good devotee. You know, yeah, at least he becomes a Kanishta Adhikari. Still, something is better than nothing. He will deliver at least 3 generations of the mothers. If he becomes Kanishta Adhikari, if he becomes Madhyama Adhikari, he will deliver 21 generations of his mothers and 21 generations of his daughters. And if he becomes Uttamadhikari like Srila Gurudev or Shri Anirudh Prabhuji or Shri Padandi Maharaj, he will deliver 100 generations. He or she, it doesn't matter. Understand? A woman will deliver her generations also. And woman will deliver not only her relatives, she will deliver her husband's relatives also, in-laws also, because they are one family. Understand? So, this is not possible without gross senses. So all these senses, speech, hands, legs, anus, genitals, they can be used for Krishna's service. So in this way, we can easily. I remember one devotee was there in Gajar, Srila Gurudev's time. His name was Mahi Bharat Prabhu, and he had many children actually. Some of them are Kirtaniyas and these and their daughters and sons. And Srila Gurudev used to call him Prajapati. Prajapati means progenitor. He said, "You are Prajapati." And there are some families. That are like any temple, joint families now vanishing. But many times I go to the Hosur temple. There is Srimji Prabhu's family, his brother's family, his sister's family. They're all devotees. His sons, grandsons, granddaughters of both brothers. So if any function is there, mostly the families only. There are just two, 3 families, and the hall is full. The children are playing, running around with tilak, clapping, all that. So it's a devotee family. Understand? Everyone is a devotee in the family. Also, I go to say Gopinath Bhavan in Bangalore. There is family of um, Babu. There are 2 Babus there. Balram Babu is also family devotee, and also another Babu. So it's good. They're all, everyone devotee. Both the brothers are devotees. Their father, Kannappa Shetty, is also devotee. His sisters also devotees. Sisters' sons also devotees. Everyone devotee there. So when the program is there, it's only the family of Babu Prabhu that is filling the whole hall. So all are related. So it's good. So that is how Jota se Jota jagaye chalo, prema ki ganga bahate chalo. That is simply light up one one candle, another candle, like that. So spread the message. So he does not enjoy the various sense objects separately for himself. In this way, he can easily overpower the uncontrolled senses. And by engaging his controlled senses in the service of the Lord, he can attain the supreme goal of life. So control your senses. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj used to say, Dharma avirdho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarsham. I am the sex life. Krishna is telling that the sex life that is not opposed to religious principles is my vibhuti, is my manifestation or power. Understand? So sex life which is not opposed to bhakti is also manifestation of Krishna's opulence. Understand? So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes Krishna as saying, "O Arjuna, if you think that the jiva's acceptance of sense objects will make most of them more addicted to those sense objects, and as a result, liberation from the bondage of their religious duty karma will become impossible, then listen to my words. It is not true that all objects are detrimental to the spiritual progress of the jivas. It is only the jiva's attachment and aversion to the sense objects that are his greatest enemies. As long as you have this material body, you have to accept sense objects. For this reason, you should accept sense objects and at the same time control your attachment and aversion to them. Now, for example, today is Ekadashi. Yesterday also there was Kamada Ekadashi. But Danti Maharaj told that 2 days you have to fast. So then what we are looking for was some potatoes. Basically, potatoes is the staple food. It is easily available. It is very cost effective, 30 rupees kilo. Another superfood is ground nuts, which is a poor man's, we call it poor man's almonds. Any dry fruit is very expensive, but ground nuts or peanuts, as they call them, they are very inexpensive. In India, even with the inflation we are experiencing, it may be 150 rupees kilo. I would say about $2 a kilo. You just boil it and put the rock salt on it, and it is ready. It's a very easy snack. You can offer it to Krishna on Ekadashi, you can accept that. Also, you can boil the potatoes, put black pepper, some ginger, and rock salt on it. It's also very tasty. If you want some oil content, then in India, the best source of oil content is actually coconuts. You grate the coconut and you put on top of that, and that's it. Your snack is ready. Ekadashi Prasadam is ready. Offer it to Thakurji and accept that. It's change, it's very cleansing, and it is also encourages autophagy in your body, recycling of the dead cells. Because cancer is spreading everywhere. Everyone is now, I got a news. There is one Mataji, Sudevi Mataji. She is disciple of Srila Gurudev, married to Kishori Mohan Prabhu. They are both are Kirtaniyas actually. Gurudev's expert Kirtan leaders. She put a message that Yashodanandan Prabhu, who has done a lot of service to Srila Gurudev, he actually, I heard that he has given a lot of donations to Srila Gurudev's mission. I think the same Yashodanandan Prabhu is very, I think he's British. I have not spoken so much to him, but he has cancer. I heard the news that he has cancer. So I talked to him on WhatsApp actually, and I said, what type of, and they were trying to raise some funds for his treatment. What once Shripad Danti Maharaj sent me a video actually about one person about cancer treatment. So he was speaking in Kannada and I can understand some Kannada. And he was telling that I treat cancer. He was giving a lecture that I treat cancer. What level of cancer? The cancers has different levels, First, second, third, fourth. Fourth means very difficult to cure. But he said, I cure cancer at any level. Now, what type of cancer can I cure? He was asking. He said, I can cure the cancer of any level, of any organ. It is liver cancer, kidney cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, cancer, you name it, throat cancer, tongue cancer. Cancer means basically your own body uh, growing some uncontrolled cells. So he said, I control all types of cancer. What medicine is giving? Then his medicine is telling that simply um, cow urine, wheatgrass powder or wheatgrass juice and some tulsi. Tulsi obviously is very holy, but he's giving some tulsi decoction or maybe the juice of it, tulsi, either ways. But natural cure. And he said, I can cure any cancer. What age group I can cure? He said, age group from 2 months old persons, 2 months old child to 100 years. All age groups I can cure. But he's not using any chemicals. He's not using any chemotherapy, radiation therapy. No. He's giving this cow urine, the power of cow urine. Understand? So that's why cow urine is so important. And so he's giving these things. Shripad Tirtha Maharaj also once told me that. He said, there is no cure for cancer. Only cure for cancer is a palm full of tulsi leaves. Just wash them, offer it to feet of Sri Krishna, and just prasadam tulsi. You should just eat palm full of tulsi. And here actually in Tirupati, we get so much tulsi. For 10 or 15 rupees, you'll get an entire garland of tulsi leaves to be offered to Tirupati Govinda temple or Govindraj temple, Balaji temple, Varahadev temple. Everywhere they are selling tulsi. It's so inexpensive to purchase tulsi. They have special gardens, and they actually come running behind you. They say, give 20 rupees, take this mala. They'll insist on and on. They'll not let you go. But that tulsi garland, if you offer it to your Thakurji, let it stay on Thakurji all night. Then morning time, Shripad Dandi Maharaj used to tell us that you just dry it up, powder it, and drink it with water, 1/2 spoon of that powder, he said. So many problems will go away. And that's true actually, because it is Prashari Tulsi. All the diseases come from sins only. Hatyam Hantya Dangri Tulasi, Steyam Chatoyam Pado Naivedyam Bahu Madhyapana Duritam Gurvangana Sangajam, Shri Sadi Namati Sthiti Harjane Tatsangajam Kilvisham, Shalagrama Shila Nrsinga Mahima Kopisha Lokottara. So basically all the diseases, they go away by chanting the holy name, accepting Tulsi, Mahaprasad. So these are very powerful things, understand? So we should try to take advantage of this natural cure. Most of the diseases, they are natural cure. Why not? Why go for this expensive treatments? Because I was speaking to one doctor and I told him that my mother has pneumonia. Then he said they will only give string antibiotics to your mother, and then it will lead to multiple organ failure. She will have a kidney problem, this and that, and then they will try to this and that, and they somehow or the other spoil the whole case. He said they cannot do anything, the allopath doctors, and they simply will just try to uh, deteriorate the things. They cannot help. That's why when I met one girl on the auto when I was coming recently from Osur, her name was Usha. So I said, what are you doing? She said, I am preparing for NEET. NEET is one medical entrance exam. Then I asked her that, what are you aiming at? Are you trying to become an allopath or homeopath or an Ayurveda doctor? Then she said, I am trying to be an allopathy doctor. I said, why allopathy? Allopathy cannot cure any disease. It can only treat the symptoms, not the cause of it. But Ayurveda goes to the cause of it because it is Vedic knowledge. Shripad Dandi Maharaj also, he got many devotees registered in the Ayurveda course. Like Balram Prabhu and another girl was from Tirupati. He instructed them, don't go for allopathy. Even if you get admission, don't go for it. He's a staunch supporter of Ayurveda. So, so as long as you have this material body, you have to accept sense objects. For this reason, you should accept sense objects and at the same time control your attachment and aversion to them. If you act in this way, you can deal with sense objects without becoming bound to them. You will become detached from them by gradually eliminating the attachment and aversion that develops when one falsely identifies the body with the self. In brief, you will develop appropriate renunciation or yukta vairagya. I have not instructed you to subdue attachment to objects and activities related to me, Shri Bhagavan, or to those that stimulate one's bhakti, nor have I instructed you to not be averse to objects or activities that are obstacles to bhakti. Rather, I have only instructed to control the attachment and aversion that is related to selfish pleasures and that promotes a temperament that is opposed to bhakti. This should be understood. So, verse 35, Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna Paradharma Swanishtitat Swadharme Nidhanam Shreya Paradharmo Bhayava. Shreyan, better, Swadharma, one's prescribed duties. Vigunaha, slightly defective. Paradharmat, than others' duties. Su Anushtitat, perfectly performed. Swadharme, in discharging one's prescribed duties. Nidhanam, death. Shreya is better. Paradharma, duties prescribed for others. Bhayavaha, bring danger. It is far better to execute one's prescribed duties, even though imperfectly, than to perform another's duty perfectly. It is better to die discharging one's own duty in accordance with the Varnashram system than to engage in others' duty, for it is dangerous to follow another's path. For example, my duty as a sannyasi is to preach the glories of the holy name. But if I'm trying to, say, doing software development or trying to find a full-time job in an office, no, that will not work. Now, as a sannyasi, we should, following one is following Brahminical culture, Vaishnavism. His job is as a sannyasi, his job is to serve Sri Krishna. What is sannyas? Sannyas means to karma manasakira, by body, mind and tongue, dedicating all your senses to service of Krishna. This is real sannyas. Understand? Kaina vacha manasindriyarva buddhatmanava prakriti svabhava karomi vidyat sakalam parasmi narayanayati samarpayami. Whatever I do by my body, tongue and mind, all my senses should be for the pleasure of Sri Krishna. This is my job as a sannyasi. Arjun was a Kshatriya, so his job was to fight. Kshatriya, he should not run away from the battlefield. He should face the enemy in the battlefield. He may die, but he should not run away. So, Shri Bhagavan sees that due to attachment and aversion, Arjuna is becoming unable to engage in his own prescribed duty of fighting. So now Shri Bhagavan is seeing that Arjuna is very much attached to his cousins. He is attached to his cousins, he is attached to Bhishma, whose grandfather is Guru Dronacharya, and he has aversion for killing them. So he is not able to do his duty as a Kshatriya to fight. Instead, he considers it easier to engage in ahimsa, non-violence, which is the duty of another paradharma. So basically, he is trying to follow the path of non-violence. For example, in India, there was Mr. Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He actually followed the path of ahimsa. He said that he should not be violent. And basically, Mahatma Gandhi, he made a commentary on Bhagavad Gita to put forward his philosophy against non-violence. But to do that, it is rather difficult because Bhagavad Gita is taught on a battlefield. Krishna urging Arjuna to fight. The first verse begins, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsava Mamaka Pandava Shiva Kima Kurvata Sanjay. Kurukshetra is the place where the battle occurred. It is a place in India and you can go there even today. But Gandhi says that Kurukshetra means the body. Then the five Pandavas, brothers, are mentioned Gandhi says that they represent the five senses. His idea, of course, is that the battle did not actually happen, but we take it from Krishna himself. That Kurukshetra is an actual place where a real battle was fought. This is called a direct meaning, in contrast to indirect meanings like Gandhi's. So basically, a lot of people, they have misinterpreted Gita. One of them is our Sri Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He actually took Bhagavad Gita, this Kurukshetra, to be an allegory, or it is just an example. He said that it is just a allegorical. No, it is real. There is a battlefield. I went to Kurukshetra once at a time of solar eclipse. Lakhs and lakhs of sadhus were chanting mantra there, and it is all real. Understand? So non-violence actually is for there, but it is not for Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas must engage in violence. Understand? For example, there are Pakistani soldiers, and they are trying to intrude in Indian boundary, and Chinese soldiers also trying to intrude into Indian boundary. What is the duty of Indian soldiers? It is their duty to protect to guard the boundary of India, because they're paid for that. They have a duty to, and vice versa. Chinese soldiers also paid for guarding their. Suppose there is a person who is actually a security officer and a checking officer at say South African airport, say Durban airport, or Johannesburg airport. He should diligently check all the luggages so that no narcotics are trafficked. Understand? Or no weapons are trafficked. You should diligently check the luggage. Many times they used to check my luggage. Shiba Dandi Maharaj luggage also. Once we were traveling together, and maybe Nairobi airport or maybe Durban airport, one security guard came and he said, "What is it? What are you carrying?" He said, "Big bag." And we told them these are all puja items, and we are monks, and we are preaching the message of love and affection. So he was satisfied. He did. Otherwise, he could have any excess duty he could have put on that. That is his job. He has to protect the interest of the country he belongs to. For example, if you go to Australia, they will check every single seed. You cannot bring any seed because they are afraid of contamination caused by the seeds. You can bring some dangerous, uh, notorious seeds of some pest or some type of um, shrub or some dangerous plant which grows at very fast rate. Now in India, we see that there are all the water bodies are taken by some dangerous pest-like plants, waterborne plants, and the land is taken over by Congress grass, as we call it. It is actually a very dangerous type of grass. Spreads everywhere. It gives you itching of, and also nausea. Also, it gives you asthma. Understand? And then also there's so much land is taken by these eucalyptus trees which came from Australia. They always reduce the water level at the of the land, and cause so much problems. Understand? So point I'm trying to make is that non-violence is there, but it is not for. Uh, so that's why Gandhiji, a great advocate of ahimsa or non-violence, found some of the Gita verses puzzling and disagreeable. Well, Krishna explained that killing can be perfectly religious and a form of yoga. Understand? One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in the world, does not kill, nor is he bound by the actions. Bhagavad Gita 18.17. Gandhi comments in his Anasakti Yoga. The meaning of these verses of Bhagavad Gita seems to depend on an imaginary ideal, which one cannot find a practical example in this world. So here, actually, Gandhi couldn't understand Bhagavad Gita very well, apparently, non-violence. But really speaking, यदि मधुमथन तत् अंग्रि सेवा रुदिविदधाति जहाति सा विवेकी तत् अखिलमपि दुष्कृतम त्रिलोके कृतम अकृतम न कृतम कृतम च सर्वम. Patyavali states that if to satisfy Sri Krishna, one commits all the sinful activities in the world, still he has not committed any sinful activity. And if one performs all the pious activities in the world but doesn't please Sri Krishna, then he has wasted his life. Is considered sinful. So Arjuna, although he killed Dronacharya, Bhishma, Karna. He didn't get any sin because he was doing it on order of Krishna. Because Arjuna and Bhima, they are Krishna's left hand, right hand arms. Using them, he killed and eliminated the burden of the earth. They were all Kshatriyas, but they were actually demons disguised as Kshatriya kings. These unruly kings were a burden on the earth. So this whole Kurukshetra exercise, Krishna is using Arjuna's service to eliminate this unwanted population. Understand? Who are just a cancer. Suppose there is a doctor and he said, I will engage in non-violence. I will not do biopsy. I will not do autopsy. I will not do biopsy. I will not do an operation because blood will flow. Then he is not a surgeon or a doctor. Because the surgeon and doctor, their most favorite instrument is a surgical knife. They take a surgical knife and that's it. Chop, chop, chop. That's all they go. They go cutting, cutting, cutting. Just that's all they have to do actually. If you see any operation, a belly or something, you'll see that they just like we open a watermelon, they cut the belly. Obviously, they're cutting as a purpose because there may be a tumor growing, there may be an external object lodged there, something or some serious ailment. If they don't cut, they stitch it back also later on. That gives pain to the patient, but doctors cannot be non-violent. They must commit some violence for the protection of the patient. So Bhagavan also has to tell Arjuna that you have to perform this himsa, but this is also service to me, because this as long as Duryodhana will remain, then there will be no peace on the earth and no one will be able to practice Krishna consciousness. So he has to go, and you have to do that. So the word viguna means that although the performance of one's prescribed duties may be defective, and although one may be unable to execute it properly, it is still superior to performing the duties of another, which may contain all good qualities and which one can execute correctly. For this reason, this verse Shreyan Swadharma is spoken. For example, I give an example that there is a mother. She is taking care of her children. Say, suppose some mother has 5 children and she has to cook every day for the children. She cannot afford any gas or anything, electric oven. So she has to go to the forest to cut the wood or maybe make cow dung patties. Obviously, when she burns the cow dung patties, so many insects die. When she cuts the wood, some trees also have to die. Understand? They also have sensation. So she's getting sinful reaction. But unless she will cut the wood, unless she will use the cow dung patties, she cannot cook. Her duty is imperfect because living entities are killed. When she boils the rice also, when she dehusks the paddy, then also so many living entities are dying. But she has to cook, otherwise what she will cook? If she will not dehusk the paddy, how will she feed her children? So her duty is imperfect, but it is okay because she must help her children survive. But then Bhagavad Gita, if she follows Bhagavad Gita, then if she studies Bhagavad Gita, then she can offer the food she has cooked to Krishna, and then Krishna will take away the sinful reaction in that food. Before offering it to her 5 or 6 children, that rice or dal what she has cooked, she should offer it to Krishna, and then prasadam should be distributed. Yadne shishtasana santa muchyante sarva kilbishai bhunjate tu agham papam ye pachante tu atma karanat. So, cooking for Krishna with love and affection, offering food to him will take away all the sinful reaction. So it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.15.12, Vidharma paradharmascha abhasa upamaschala adharma shakha panchema dharmabhyo dharmavattajit. The tree of religion has 5 branches. Vidharma, performing activities opposed to religion. There are some activities which are totally opposed to religion. For example, Muslims. they're actually killing cows. And now Bakrid will come. After Ramzan, Bakrid will come. And so many cows will be killed. But this is not dharma, this is vidharma. This is actually called a non-conformist religion. Uh, so, activity is opposed to dharma. Paradharma, engaging in others' religious principles. Abhas, making a show of religious principles. Upama or upadharma, practicing principles that only appear to be dharmic. And chala dharma, cheating dharma, cheating religion. One who knows religious principles will abandon all of them as forbidden acts. So here actually, Srila Gurudev says in Manas Shiksha that according to the instructions of verse 1, should perform bhajan after giving up all kinds of pride. In such condition, worldly life cannot be maintained. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami advises that dharma and adharma both be given up if one has to perform bhajan. In order to perform exclusive bhajan of Sri Sri Radha Krishna, one should abandon all kinds of dharma and adharma enjoyed in the Vedas, Shrutis and other similar literatures. But by giving up one's daily and occasional duties, nitya and nimitti karma, life would become difficult and there would be several defects. Then what should we do? The activities that help us in the course of our life that are beneficial for this world as well as the next world are called dharma. To not follow this is adharma, and to do what is contrary to this is called vidharma. We may not perform adharma, vidharma or kukarma, unbeneficial activity, but we have to follow dharma. In the Shrutis, religious duties are divided according to karma. Fruitive activity, jnana, the cultivation of knowledge aimed at impersonal liberation, and bhakti, devotion unto the Supreme Lord. Tavat karmani kurvita na nirvidyata yavata, mat katha shravana dova, shraddha yavad na chayate. Until one awakens detachment from the results of fruitive activity, or until one develops faith in hearing discourse related to me, one must carry out his daily and occasional obligatory activities. So basically, there are certain obligations. Suppose someone is married and then he has children. Then he has to earn for the children because he has taken the vow and now he has to, unless he has developed very great attachment for hearing pastimes of Sri Krishna and be willing to chant 24 hours a day, that person should not forsake his household life or his duties. He should keep on doing his job. He should go to that job regularly, earn some money, and use that money for maintaining his wife and children. At the same time, that person should chant the name of God, whether he is traveling, commuting, whether he is in office, whether he is doing household activities. He should keep on chanting Hare Krishna, or Ram Krishna Hari, or Hari Sharanam, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai, any name of God, Narayan Narayan, or Krishna Krishna, Govinda Govinda. Some name of God should be always chanted. Understand? So, the Vedas say ahimsa paramo dharma. The non-violence is the highest religious principle. Pitru deva bhava, matru deva bhava. Respect your elders and parents. Atiti deva bhava. Respect those who are uninvited guests at your home. And acharya deva bhava. Respect your teachers and preceptors. In ordinary day-to-day life, these cannot be abandoned. You will have to take care of your mother and father. Unless you are a sannyasi or brahmachari, you are in householder life, then you must take care of your mother and father. One should not be violent to other living entities. Like Gurudev says, cows are the mothers, and sheep and goats, they are also small mothers. You should not eat their meat also. Atiti Devo, if any guest will come, even if he is your enemy, you should greet him nicely, offer him water, place to sit, and take care of that guest. Now, this is decreasing, especially in cities, accommodation is very less. But at least to whatever extent we can help a guest, we should help. Don't forget, one day you will also have to be a guest at someone else's house. I see that in many situations. Like for example, there was Ekadashi Prasadam today in our preaching center. Mr. Raja came, Ramanjali Prabhu came, and then others came. And then they honored prasad at the preaching center. And sometimes we have to go to their place. They give us nice prasadam. And we do kirtan. So it is reciprocation. Dadati prati granati guhyam akhyati puchyati. Bhungte bhojayate chaiva shadvidi prati lakshanam. If anyone will come, then he should be given prasadam. Guests should not be sent empty-handed. If there is nothing to offer, at least you can give him some, at least one sweet water, one glass, and some sweet words. That doesn't cost any money. But try to respect a guest, at least to whatever ability you have, economic ability you have. No good karma results in eternal happiness, and the ultimate outcome will be suffering. One gets married for happiness, but it turns out to be painful. Understand? So here it is told that no one gets married for unhappiness, but actually it turns out to be painful. Accumulation of wealth also results in suffering. So you see that in India we many times see a girl will get married with great effort to a man, but then the day that she gets married, they are only harassing her for dowry. Bring us a motorcycle, bring us a new television, bring us a new car. Your husband is going to start a job, is going to start a business, bring the capital, this and that. Your dowry your father gave was not enough. From day one, she's tortured. Better that she would not have got married. And then within 10 or 12 days, they just use a pillow, suffocate her and kill her. This is going on in India. So many incidences. So why she got married? She thought that she will get a husband and she'll be happy. It turned out to death. Accumulation of wealth also results in suffering. If you have a lot of wealth, then there are so many swindlers. They'll come to you and they will simply, now there are umpteen number of ways to get wealth. Awareness of the misery of material activity. Karmani chetani nirveda kruta. So when we'll develop detachment, when we becomes aware of the misery of the material activity. Draupadi and the Pandavas were fully surrendered to Krishna, and yet even they underwent great suffering. I will see that the Pandavas suffering and Draupadi's suffering, even the worst enemy of mine should not suffer like them. Uh, they had to leave their kingdom. Draupadi they attempted to strip her naked. Jayadratha tried to kidnap her. And Pandavas, they tried to poison him. They tried to burn their house. Did so many atrocities. Their 5 children were butchered by Krutavarma. Even the was fetus in the womb of um, Uttara they were trying to get rid of Ashwatthama. King Harishchandra followed the path of dharma, yet he had to suffer. If one comes to this understanding that karma and fruits of karma result in suffering only, then he becomes eligible for jnana. But even the elaborate commentaries on jnana given in the scriptures not contain real happiness because there is no acceptance of Bhagavan. So jnane prayasa mudapasa nemantam eva jivanti sanmukaritam bhavadiya vartam sthane sthitva shrutikatam tanuvang manovir prayashe jitopi desapokya. Impersonal knowledge has no conception of Bhagavan. So better to hear Harikatha. That is superior to Anushilan of Jnana. So activities such as non-violence are prescribed for Brahmanas who are situated in the material mode of goodness or Sattva Guna. For Kshatriyas who are in mode of passion or Rajogun, the prescribed duty is fighting. For example, there were actually Sikh religion. Sikh religion was actually when in Kashmir, they were simply killing the Brahmanas, left, right, and center. Chop, 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 kill, kill, kill. That was going on Muslims. So that's Guru Tegh Bahadur. He actually, in order to protect this sacred thread of the Brahmanas in Kashmir, he started the Sikh religion. Uh, he was one of the founders of the Sikh religion, understand. He was born in April 1621. He was the ninth of the 10 gurus who founded the Sikh religion. And so Sikh means actually word come from Sikh, Shishya. So they did a lot of sacrifice. Arjun Singh, Guru Tegh Bahadur Singh. I don't know too much of their history, but what I heard from Srila Gurudev, that they fought diligently against Mughals, the Muslim rulers. So these Sikh gurus are highly revered. So Kshatriya's job is to fight. They must fight. To especially protect the Brahman class, to women, children. For Kshatriyas who are in a mode of passion or Rajagun, the prescribed duty is fighting. Therefore, the prescribed duty for Kshatriya is to engage in battle. Even if a Kshatriya dies in a battle, he attains the heavenly planets. Therefore, it is better for him to fight. Now, Kshatriyas, the Brahmana, were not allowed two marriages. That is sense gratification. Brahman should not be in mode of passion and doing sense gratification. But rather, the Brahmanas should not engage in sense gratification. Kshatriyas are allowed some sense gratification because they have to face violence, so much violence they have to see. Sometimes Kshatriyas are allowed maybe one queen, two queens, like that. For example, Dasharatha Maharaj was a Kshatriya. He had, obviously, he's a transcendental personality. He had 360 queens. Yayati also married Sharmishtha Devyani, like this. Each of the Pandavas also had one or two queens, I think, each one of them. Either way. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says one who executes his prescribed duties may die before attaining a more elevated qualification. Still, his performance of them is auspicious because to perform the duties of another is always fearful and dangerous in any circumstance. So Arjun knows that he may die. He may not, Karna's very powerful arrow may come and kill him. And he may not get victory also. But still Arjun, nothing should be afraid because even if Karna's arrow kills him, or Bhishma's arrow kills him, or Dronacharya's arrow kills him, he will go to the heavenly planet. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Dharma means the Jiva's eternal function. In that stage, one's previous Swadharma, which was related to the mind, becomes Paradharma. That is belonging to another, and it is secondary to the duties of the Avikansta. Devarshi Bhutatamranam King Nitranam Petranam King No King Karanaya Grodincharajan Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam Gapa Mukundam Parivritakar. Those who have taken exclusive shelter of Shri Mukund, who is the only shelter and who have renounced all varieties of karma, no longer remain indebted to gods, sages, living entities, saintly persons, and forefathers. Sometimes demigods become upset with us. We don't worship them with the Brajavasis. Sometimes sages may become upset with you if you don't serve them. Other living entities also may be harmed if you don't serve them. Saintly persons also, we are indebted to them. If you don't serve them, it's an offense. Forefathers also, we are indebted to them. If we don't serve them, we are offense. What we are enjoying is actually Hadith. What we are enjoying is nothing but the wealth of forefathers. His body is also given by our father or mother. So we are indebted to them. But once you start doing Krishna Bhakti, then Krishna will free you from that debt. Krishna will free you from that um, uh, their burden of their debt. Understand? Because once Yasmin Tushte Jagat Tushte, if you satisfy Krishna, then demigods are also satisfied. Uh, So one time there was actually one particular king, and one Brahman from Pandharpur went to that king. So the king was worshipping Parvati on very opulent scale, with ornaments and all, and great paraphernalia. He had a temple of two temples for Parvati. He asked the Brahman from Pandharpur that your Vitthal, your Krishna, does he have such opulent temple? Then that Brahman said, yes, our temple is made of gold and Pandharpur is made of touchstone, philosopher's stones, touchstones, philosopher's stones, desired trees, Ramadhinu, milk cows, wish-fulfilling cows, wish-fulfilling trees. King wanted to see Pandharpur. So he brought the Brahman with him. And then Brahman prayed to Lord Krishna that I glorified Pandharpur, that is full of wish-fulfilling gems and wish-fulfilling trees and cows. Can you please show that type of Pandharpur to this king? And then Krishna showed that vision to the king. King saw everywhere there were actually Chintamani, Kamadhenus, Kalpavruksha. And he offered Dandot Pranams to Vithala. And he saw that Parvati was sweeping the courtyard there. He said, Parvati, you are my worshipable deity. I worship you on a very grand scale. That king's name was Ramraj. He told that I worship you on a grand scale in my kingdom Vijayanagar. And you are sweeping the courtyard here. Why you are doing this, mother? Then she said that I am one of the millions of maid servants of Vithala. I am simply an ordinary maid servant of Vithala. Then he offered Dandot Pranam to Vithala and he said, I want that you come with me. You come to my kingdom. And then Vittal left with him. From Pandharpur, he went to Vijayanagar. But the devotees in Pandharpur were very agitated that Vittal left Pandharpur. So they sent one great devotee, Bhanudas. So Bhanudas secretly found where the king had placed Vittal deity and he went and offered obeisances to Vittal. Then king caught him and Vittal also gave him some ornament as a gift to Bhanudas when he secretly had darshan of him. But when the king's soldiers caught Bhanudas because they accused him of stealing an ornament of Vittal and they wanted to hang him, and they got a big staff um, from um, from the stem of a mango tree and they planted it in the ground, dry mango tree, and they planted it and they wanted to hang him using that. But as soon as they planted that dry stem of a mango tree, it immediately sprouted into many leaves, mangoes appeared there, and they couldn't hang him. So then Vittal told the king that I had told you that when I come to your kingdom from Pandharpur, if you commit any offense to any devotee, I will leave Pandharpur. I will go back to Pandharpur. You have offended a great devotee by the name Bhanudas by trying to hang him. So I am now living. And then Bhanudas carried this deed of Vittal all the way from Vijayanagar and maybe in Andhra Pradesh to Maharashtra. So Bhanudas is responsible for bringing the deity of Vittal back to Pandharpur from Vijayanagar. So those who have taken exclusive shelter of Sri Govinda, who is the only shelter and who have renounced all varieties of karma, no longer indebted to the demigods, sages, living entities, saintly persons and forefathers. Tavat karmani kurvita nirvidyata yavata mat katha shravanadava shraddha yavana jayate. One who has not become fully detached from enjoying the fruits of his activities, karma, and whose faith in the process of bhakti and the hearing of my pastime is not yet sufficiently developed, must certainly engage in his prescribed duties. The devotees of Bhagwan, the renounced, the renunciants, on the other hand, have no purpose to achieve by engaging in karma. So basically, sannyasis and those who are devotees of Bhagwan, they should not engage in any mundane karma. They should simply engage in hearing, chanting, remembering, and depend and just subsist somehow or other, whatever clothes and whatever food Krishna gives them. Understand? Sometimes it may be very palatable food and sometimes it may be very simple prasadam, no harm. One should not try to be a sense gratifier, eat lot of ghee, lot of delicious prasadam, pizza, pasta, lasagna, cheesecake, ice cream. No. Whatever, simply khichdi, once Sripad Dandi Maharaj told me, oh, you should go to Muhas and open a temple there. in Hanuman's. It's a mystical Hanuman temple where if your bone is broken, it immediately gets joined there. Especially those who have orthopedic problems, fractures and all, they're cured there. So a lot of pilgrims come there on Saturday and Tuesdays. Maharaj said, why not open a preaching center there? But he said, I said, what will I eat there? He said, you cook some khichdi. You take a pressure cooker and simply cook simple khichdi like Swami Maharaj was cooking. And you just preach there. And I like that idea. And, maybe if I get some room there, I definitely want to preach there. Because you see that simple living, high thinking, that is our motto. Wear very simple clothes, and honor very simple prasadam, and just chant and hear and glorify Krishna. Tell people are in so much ignorance. They don't know anything about Krishna. Just tell them about Krishna. So that's why Swadharmo Shreyan Swadharmo Biguna Paradharma Sunashtitat Swadharme Nidanam Shreya Paradharma Shreyan for better Swadharma one's prescribed duties Viguna even faulty Paradharmat then duties mentioned for others so Anushtitat perfectly done Swadharme in one's prescribed duties Nidanam destruction Shreya better Paradharma duties prescribed for others Bhayavaha, dangerous. It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though they may be faulty, than others' duties. Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in others' duties or to follow other paths. Others' path is dangerous. One should therefore discharge his prescribed duties in full Krishna consciousness rather than those prescribed for others. Prescribed duties complement one's psychophysical condition under spell of the modes of material nature. Like Srila Gurudev, after he took sannyas, he never wore trousers. He never wore three-piece suit. Always in dhoti. Any country he went in simple sannyasi dhoti. He never worked outside. He never collected money. He never ate opulent food. He never slept on opulent beds. He always chanted 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh holy names. Like Srila Gurudev, Sri Anirudh Prabhuji, Sri Patandi Maharaj. They are perfect examples that they never engaged in any sense gratification. And they never tried to collect or endeavor for money. Only chanting holy name and engaging all the money they got for service of Sri Krishna and devotees. So spiritual duties are as ordered by the spiritual master for the transcendental service of Krishna. But both materially or spiritually, one should stick to his prescribed duties even up to death, rather than imitate others' prescribed duties. So suppose you are a doctor, then you should act like a good doctor. Don't perform abortion. And if a poor patient comes to you, you should do free of charge surgery or treatment. You have taken a vow. And what is that vow called? Of Hippocrates or something vow. So as a medicinal practitioner, you should not take kickbacks or bribe. Now that is what is going on these days. There is actually recently in Delhi, a very famous hospital, they caught one ring of doctors who were taking kickbacks and bribes for doing expensive surgeries. Government is providing all the instruments, all the paraphernalia, all the types of apparatus and all the medicines free of charge. Why not perform free of charge? Why you have to take kickbacks? You are paid also handsome salary by the government. So a doctor should not do corruption. You should try to serve the humanity at large. If you're an engineer, then don't do corruption in um, building a bridge. Otherwise, you are compromising so many lives. Suppose I'm a civil engineer, then I must try to build a bridge which will last for decades. Not that even before inauguration, the bridge has collapsed. This has happened in India. Even before the inauguration, the bridge collapsed. You can imagine what would have happened if already the traffic and throughfare would have started. If as an electrician, don't use substandard electrical equipment. Otherwise, there is a risk of fire. The whole building may be burnt. Understand? So basically, corruption in any area, you are compromising lives. Suppose you are a pharmacist, don't use adulterated medicines. Use pure medicines. Don't Adulteration is not good. So when one is under the spell of modes of material nature, one should follow the prescribed rules for particular situations and should not imitate others. For example, a Brahmana who is in the mode of goodness is non-violent, where the Kshatriya who is in the mode of passion is allowed to be violent. As such, for a Kshatriya, it is better to be vanquished following the rules of violence than to imitate a Brahmana who follows the principles of non-violence. Everyone has to cleanse his heart by a gradual process, not abruptly. Like, for example, a grasta, he should not do bhiksha. To do bhiksha is the job of sannyasi. A grasta can also do bhiksha if he's no job and he's living a Brahminical life, simply studying Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Then, like Arjun Mishra, they are entitled to do bhiksha. But otherwise, um, others are not entitled to do bhiksha. Bhiksha is only meant for sannyasis and brahmacharis and brahmanas. Hmm. However, when one transcends the modes of material nature or is fully situated in Krishna consciousness, he can perform anything and everything under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master. In that complete stage of Krishna consciousness, the Kshatriya may act as a Brahmana or a Brahmana may act as a Kshatriya. Now, this is very common because Parshuram, for example, he acted as a Kshatriya, although he was born in a Brahmin family. It is perfectly fine that a Brahmana, someone is having second initiation in Krishna consciousness, he has become a Vaishnava, and he acts like a security guard. The example is Mr. Rajesh Gaur. Mr. Rajesh Gaur is a disciple of Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj, and he also served our Gurudev. Now, when Navadvip Parikrama was going on, there are a lot of pickpockets, a lot of times chain snatchers, they are wandering around. So, he is retired now, maybe Rajesh Gaur. He was a police officer, and he sits there at the gate and guarding. He doesn't attend classes that time, but in his uniform of police, he sits there. So that he clamps, that puts a clamp on the thieves and rogues and antisocial elements who flock our Parikrama party because there are so many Westerners and so many persons from women from other states who are having golden chains. But Navadvip Parikrama was previously notorious, especially um, Champahati, so much money was being stolen actually. But so some devotees have to act like security guards, understand that they should follow their duty. So Vishwamitra was originally a Kshatriya, but later on he acted as a Brahmana. Whereas Parshuram was a Brahmana, but later on he acted as a Kshatriya. So Vishwamitra, once Sripad Dandi Maharaj told me the story of Vishwamitra, how he was a Rishi. He was a Rajarshi, Raja Rishi. He was a king and sage. Huh? Sage in a king's disguise. But later on he was promoted to become a Rishi. Then he was even more promoted to be a Maharshi. And finally he was promoted to become a Brahmarshi. So although Vishwamitra was a Kshatriya, he acted like a Brahmana. And Parshuram was a Brahmana, but later on he acted as a Kshatriya. So being transcendentally situated, they could do so. But as long as one is on the material platform, he must perform his duties according to the modes of material nature. So Brahmana should be in the mode of goodness. And Kshatriya has to be in the mode of passion. Understand? At the same time, he must have a full sense of Krishna consciousness. So suppose in a mercantile class, the mercantile class may be some mixture of passion and ignorance. And Shudra's work may be mode of ignorance. But it doesn't matter. Suppose I am cleaning toilets in a temple. I just take a scrub and some mild hydrochloric acid and I just go to and 5 or 10 toilets are there and yellowish tinge is appearing there and I just go and scrub them nicely, pour water nicely. So Vaishnavas will not get the stench when they enter the toilet. I am actually doing the work not very high class work, one would say like this. But actually it is very high class because you are not acting on the platform of bodily consciousness. You are not thinking I am doing Shudra job, but rather it is looked at. These Vaishnavas are so great, they dedicate their lives for Sri Krishna. So I am doing that service so that they will not feel any inconvenience when they use the toilets. With that mood, if I do, I will advance in bhakti. Understand? Suppose my Gurudev is very sick and he has diarrhea, and somehow I am cleaning his dhotis, uh, um, you know, because my Gurudev has loose motion. That's okay. That is okay because Krishna will be pleased by that. Siddhir bhavati vaneti samshaya achyuta sevana nishyastu tad bhakta paricharya ratatmavan. So if you serve Krishna, you may or may not get perfection. But if you serve your Gurudev and you serve Krishna as Krishna's devotees, you'll certainly get perfection. So you see that Ishwar Puri also engaged in menial service. So at the last stage of his life, Sri Madhavendra Puri became an invalid and was completely unable to move. And Ishwar Puri so completely engaged himself in his service that he personally cleaned up his stool and urine, always chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and reminding Sri Madhavendra Puri about the pastimes of Lord Krishna in the last stage of his life. Ishwar Puri gave the best service among his disciples. Thus Madhavendra Puri, being very pleased with him, blessed him, saying, "My dear boy, I can only pray to Krishna that he will be pleased with you." But Ishwar Puri, by the grace of his spiritual master, Sri Madhavendra Puri became a great devotee in the ocean of love of Godhead. Srila Vishwanath Thakur states in his Gurvashtakam prayer, Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado, yasya aprasadanna gati kutu. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one is blessed by the mercy of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. It's okay if we serve our spiritual master, wash his clothes, wash his bed, room, clean it. Then it is going to give us bhakti. So Ishwar Puri, he did that seva to Madhavendra Puri. So that is the thing. So we should not hesitate to do our duty. Don't hesitate. Whatever prescribed duty, what Gurudev has told us, we should try to do that. Even if it may seem difficult sometimes. Why I have to do that? No, don't feel any problem. Whatever Gurudev says, we should try to do that. Even if we are not able to do it perfectly. Like one time, Srila Gurudev told me that you have to translate Brihad Bhagavatamritam. I was not very good at English, nor I was good at Sanskrit translation. But then I said, Gurudev's order is there. I have no choice. I must do it. Then I slowly picked up the art and science of translation. I learned, my English also improved, and I benefited. I came to know some Siddhanta also. So if I had told Gurudev that Brihad Bhagavatamrita is a very big book, and I will not be able to do that, then Gurudev said, all right, we'll appoint someone else to translate it. But both the volumes, I translated it. And then I learned from that. I benefited from that. And Nisarghatta Ashram was very peaceful. My room was near Goshala. So no one was disturbing me there. And days I was translating there. Morning and evening I would translate. Daytime I would go and distribute books at the railway station. It was a very peaceful life, very fresh air, nice cows. So the point I'm trying to say is that when we try to serve Gurudev, follow his order, we benefit. We learn so many things. So many things. If Sripad Dandi Maharaj gives us some task, if I try to follow that, I learn something. There is a lot of learning is there. So benefit comes by that. Bhakti will also come. So we try to follow the orders of Guru and Vaishnavas and give up our false ego. Then we'll benefit. So today is Venjali Mahadvadashi. It was a little long class. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Vancha kalpadru Vaishya Kripa Sindhu. Padyanam Pavanevi Vaishnav. Dandavat. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Prams. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Sorry, what page did we stop at?
Actually, it was, I would tell you that it is verse number 335 is finished. This particular verse is, now we'll begin from just 336, okay? 3.36.
Okay, chapter 3. Okay.
Chapter 3, verse number 36, Arjuna Vacha, Atakena Prayuktoyam, Papancharati Purusha, Anicham Api Varshneya, Balad even Yojita. That why a person commits sins. Now, this is the question Arjuna will ask. In next class, we'll discuss that. What causes a person to commit sinful activity? So that is a question, and Krishna will give an answer to that. There are certain questions in this Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna is trying to answer them. So 336, very important question. That what is the root cause of sin? Why people are committing sin? Because you see that people getting punished left, right, and center. People are suffering from life imprisonment for this crime, for that crime, for whatever it is. They have long sentences in the prisons. Yeah. So what is caused them to sin? This is a question we say. What is the root cause of the sin? Where the sin come from? So then that's very, very important. We have to know that Krishna will tell actually that kama, the sex desire, kama, lust alone is the source. Kama isha krodheja rajoguna samadva mahashama mahapapma viddhinam ihavirina. That's why it is very, very important is to study this particular scripture, Bhagavad Gita, because you come to know exactly what is our disease, diagnosis or prognosis as they call it. It is very, very important. If you cannot diagnose the disease properly, then what treatment can be done? So basically, diagnosis. So Krishna is a doctor. He is giving us this diagnosis. What problem we are suffering from? Hare Krishna. Dandavats.
Maharaj, this is when you listen to this whole thing.
Pardon?
Oh, it calls for complete surrender.
Yes, Sharanagati. Sadanga Sharanagati Haibe Jahar. Tahara Prathana Shune Shri Nanda Kumar. We have to surrender. So surrender is actually the solution to all the problems.
Yeah.
We have to surrender to Krishna. Because
if you don't surrender, you can never understand anything what you said there.
Right. Exactly. Hari-bo.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Jai
Thank you.
is not here. Thank you.
So tomorrow I have a train, but it is late in the night. So tomorrow there will be class, I think, on Madhuri Kadambi, right? Monday.
Yeah, tomorrow's Monday.
And then I will reach, and I think day after tomorrow, I think I should be okay to conduct an online class. I'll be in a place called Siriguppa, which is called rice bowl of Karnataka. A lot of rice grows there. And there are actually industries there which they polish the rice. And when they polish the rice, actually the paddy, the shell on the paddy, it goes in your eyes. Last time it got lodged in my eyes, and then Dr. Pinak, he removed that. But I should be very attentive when I'm passing through that area. I must wear glasses because the particles going everywhere. Actually, it hurts like anything. It just gets lodged in your eye, and more you rub your eye, more it goes inside. So so that area I'm going tomorrow. So I'll be reaching day after tomorrow, and then I think I should be able to conduct both the classes. But if I'm not, then I will let you know. All right. But tomorrow's class is fine because I have a train late in the night. So tomorrow 7 to 8, I will certainly hold it. And the day after tomorrow also, I hope I should be able to do that.
Tuesday. That's Java Dharma. So Madhuri Kadambi.
Yeah, that is Java Dharma, right.
Yes. Just wait for Tuesday's one and
yes,
same time you read. Okay. Safe journey, March. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Didi. Hare Krishna. Gaudari.
Hey, Diwani, please, March. Thank you.
Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Vyasi ki jai. Jai Vitala Prishtajat Guru Shishyan Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Gurudev ki jai. Vitala Prishtam Vishnu Paas Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Vitala Prishtam Vishnu Paas Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj ki jai. Acharya Keshri Shishimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. सपरिकर जगत गुरु श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री पासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। जय श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपी गोवर्धन द्वार समनात्मक शरज मंडल की जय। गंगा जमुना तुलसी भक्त देवी की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा चक्र जीव की जय। सर्व विघ्न विनाशन भक्ति विघ्न विनाशन नृसिंहदेव भगवान की जय। भक्त प्रभु श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, चारों संप्रदाय की जय, चारों आचार्य की जय, चारों धामों की जय, आगर मठराज चैतन्य मठ की जय, श्री रंगनाथ गौड़ी मठ की जय, अन्य शाखा मठ समूह की जय, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, नंद कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, त्रिंडी स्वामी शिशुवत भक्तिदाता दंडी महाराज जी की जय, नामनिष्ठ संत श्री अनिरुद्धास प्रभु की जय, मठेर सेवक वृंद की जय, धामवासी भक्त वृंद की जय, समागत भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री व्यंजलि महाद्वादशी की जय, कामदा एकादशी की जय, महाद्वादशी व्रत पालनकारी भक्त वृंद की जय, निताय गौर सीता प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण हरे
Hare Krishna, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Vishnu Daivata Mj ki jai. Vanchika
हरे
Patrubhastha
कृपा सिंधु चक्रिदानां
Patitanam
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो।
Vaishnava.
जय जय शारदा की जय
Hare
और
Krishna,
वरिष्ठ
Mama.
से मल्टीबॉडीज। थैंक यू। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Maja. So we see you tomorrow, and thank you,
सी
dear
यू।
devotees. We'll see you.
थैंक यू।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण हरे
Hare
कृष्ण।
Krishna. Thank you. Done.